Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, I'd like to discuss how liberal progressives in America hailed the decision by a Republican judge in Texas, blocking attempts by the authorities to cancel a drag show on the grounds that it would be unconstitutional. But this rare victory is actually, for me, a sign of a very worrying time for America, and the fallout will affect us all. In some cases, for countries like the UK, who do have political groups who wish to emulate Trump, the results could be devastating. Progressive Americans, they need a strategy, and they need it fast. Otherwise, they should probably just move to Canada. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So, sorry, going all doom and gloom for you this otherwise sunny afternoon, but the good news is few and far between and may not even be good news at all. Just the torturer letting us off the rack for a bit to make the next session even more agonising. A judge, appointed by the late George Bush Sr., so a Republican judge, has saved a campus drag show. The university board attempted to cancel it on the basis that they were complying with one of Trump's executive orders, in this case to consider only two sexual identities. But this was just a drag show and unaffected by the executive order, concluded the judge. The result is being cheered by many high-profile progressive commentators in America and beyond Texas. I see it as less a victory and more a last meal, however. Trump and his allies are working to bring America to heel. But they will be less concerned with drag shows right now. They're going after their main opponents first. Trump has already been bullying major figures and businesses into submission. The CEO of Ben & Jerry's is fired. Why? Ben & Jerry's has been a vocal supporter of liberal attitudes and inclusion. I'm guessing they will not be championing these causes in future. Trump has also beaten a major law firm into submission, made no secret of the fact he would be going through his big book of grudges if he won the presidency a second time, and meting out revenge. The Oompa Loompa of vengeance is being true to his word. Law firms were trying to band together, corral themselves in order to defend against Trump's campaign of savage retribution. But Paul Weiss, representing a huge firm, has surrendered to Trump, believing it's the only way to save his firm. This now has other lawyers panicking at their shattered alliance. The consequence of this seems to be that Trump is attempting to pick them off one by one, coerce legal firms into not representing those who need representation against Trump's retribution. So the idea is, if he goes after you, if he gets the Department of Justice to go after you, you may find it difficult to find a good lawyer to defend you because Trump is threatening those law firms. There is strategy here. It's not a particularly complex one, but it is an effective one. He, or more probably people advising him, are identifying the biggest hurdles he faces in turning America into a fascist dictatorship under his control. He is forcing large corporations to fall into line, media organisations to fall into line. He is using threats to prevent former presidents speaking out against him, and now legal firms who might represent those he wants to prosecute, if you'll pardon the expression, on trumped-up charges. And while all of this is going on, remember that Trump has ignored a federal court order. The judiciary is fighting back a bit for now, but the latest in his battle over deportations is to invoke an executive power, undoubtedly illegally, which means that he's now refusing to supply the judge with any further information as requested. The US government is literally saying, yeah, Judge, we don't think your order really has merit. You seem to have messed it up. Sorry, easy mistake. Anyone could make it, you know. But as you're such a fool, we're just not going to give you any information. His government has already said that they will deport people whether or not there is any evidence against them. In fact, they have explicitly said that in cases where there is a lack of evidence, that is actually proof they must be terrorists. After all, why wouldn't we know enough about them? Over the Signal scandal, two senior members of Trump's government have now provably lied under oath in their response. There is no indication that there will be consequences for this. They're ignoring federal judgments. Congress is allowing themselves to be lied to under oath by the government. From the outside, this is like Monty Python levels of farce, only it's not. It all sounds stupid, but it's not stupid. It's classic controlling behaviour. When you read about how abusive people control their partners, it all sounds ridiculous. But it's how the process of controlling behaviour works. Trump is an abusive president applying the same techniques on a grander scale to his entire country. He's pretending to be the victim whilst making over-the-top threats. The idea is that the risk of crossing him is made so high and the payout for doing so negligible. So you just don't cross him. It's not worth it. He's literally threatening to end your business or end your life. And it's against that background that I read this hailing of the judgment in Texas, which saved a drag show. And I thought, you know, you're cheering a minor victory, which will be very short-lived. You know, this is like catching the pennies but missing the pounds, isn't it? Pretty soon, even these small wins will not exist. Or that is the aim. After all, authoritarians do not let you even have small comforts. They don't even let you get away with small wins. They must exercise total control over every aspect of your life. Like I say, Trump is working on the big stuff for now. He's working on the biggest forces ranged against him, lines of communication to the public, legal defences for his opponents. Once he's taken those out, he'll not sit back, job done. He will then go after the next targets and then the next. These people, and remember, this is not just Trump, it's an entire cabal. These people want complete control over everything. I'm not saying it's inevitable they will get it. One saving grace is that they constantly demonstrate to us they don't understand the system they're playing with, and many of them are just objectively thick. Stupid evil can be defeated, but so far it is winning. So far there is little sign of a coordinated force ranged against them. And so far they are employing a strategy which makes logical sense. It's methodical. And the SAVE Act part of this as well, proposed legislation which claims it will prevent election abuse that is already made illegal by existing legislation. But the way it would work is, if you don't have a passport, which most don't, you would have to prove your eligibility to vote by presenting an official ID with your birth certificate, and both have to match. But for many women who marry and take their husbands' names, they won't match. It would mean millions of women who are more likely to vote for the party that isn't run by incels would have to go to a lot of trouble and possibly expense to be able to vote at all. And the more hassle you implement into a voting system, the more likely it is that a lot of people would decide, you know what, it's one vote, it's not going to make that much difference. I'll just forget about voting altogether. All part of a sequential strategy. In fact, Trump has actually just signed an executive order, I think it was yesterday, which is sort of aligned with this legislation. So from today, unless this executive order is blocked, I gather it's hideously illegal. But so is some of the other things he's been doing. So unless it is blocked, federal elections will now be fundamentally different. Don't have a passport to present to election officials? Okay, good luck trying to vote. And the trajectory it leads to is one where even the drag shows will end and there will be no judges to come to the rescue. Right now, Trump is working on destroying the judicial system. He hasn't done it yet. He's making progress. As I said on more than one occasion, think about what Trump has done in about 9 weeks into his presidency. Imagine where America might be after 90 weeks. Some people are hunkering down and waiting for that 90 weeks. Oh, the midterms. There will have to be some pretty major fight back and wins from that fight back if those midterms are to actually take place in any meaningful way. If I were an American progressive social media star right now, I'd certainly be thinking of getting myself to Canada right now. I'd be reading about the sequence of events which took place when European democracies turned to dictatorships, and I'd be thinking, yeah, I'm going to Canada. Don't be cheering the odd minor victory in the courts as a victory. It's actually just another entry into the Trump book of grudges that he will get around to dealing with once he's sorted the big stuff. If you do not unite and come up with a plan to stop him sorting the big stuff, he'll be coming for the smaller stuff next. Progressive liberals in America must band together, must focus on a methodical strategy of their own. Not puff on the copium of court cases which allow them to think, oh, the checks are still in place, the balances against executive abuse are still there. Right now, I see no evidence that they are. Just a few minor acts of rebellion are getting through, but the net is closing. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.